The Draxian warbeast stood 3 meters tall at the shoulder, its scales gleaming like polished obsidian under the training yard's artificial sun. Muscles rippled beneath its armored hide as it prowled down the line of cadets, and its triple rows of teeth could shear through starship hull plating. Master Sergeant Krovax watched impassively as the beast performed its evaluation. This was the final test before cadets could be assigned their warbeast companions, the creatures that would fight beside them, protect them, and sometimes die for them in the endless conflicts across the galaxy. "Stand firm," Krovax barked. "The beast must smell your courage, not your fear." The first cadet, a Thessian with crystalline skin, held his ground as the warbeast approached. It circled him once, twice, then released a bone-rattling snarl directly into his face. The Thessian's knees trembled but he didn't break. The beast snorted and moved on. Acceptable. A Vortian cadet was next. Forearmed and battle-hardened, she maintained eye contact as the beast tested her. It snapped its jaws centimeters from her face. She didn't flinch. The beast rumbled approvingly and continued down the line. One by one, cadets faced the warbeast's judgment. Some passed. Others failed, stumbling backward or showing fear. Those who failed would never bond with a warbeast. Then the creature reached Cadet Emily Vasquez. The human stood at barely 1.7 meters, dwarfed by most of her classmates and utterly insignificant compared to the massive predator approaching her. Krovax had questioned Command's decision to allow humans into the warbeast program. They were so small, so fragile-looking. The warbeast stopped in front of Emily. It lowered its massive head, bringing one enormous eye level with her face. The snarl that emerged from its throat made previous ones sound like whispers, a sound designed to trigger primal terror in any sentient being. Emily didn't move. She didn't even blink. Instead, she did something that made Krovax's blood freeze. She reached out and placed her hand on the warbeast's scarred snout. "Hey there, big guy," she said softly. "I know you're just doing your job. But we both know this is all theater, don't we?" The warbeast's snarl died in its throat. Emily stepped closer, running her hand along the creature's jaw. "You're not really angry. See, where I come from, we have creatures kind of like you. Smaller, sure, but same energy." She found a spot behind the beast's ear ridge and scratched gently. "They all love this spot. Do you?" The warbeast's rear leg began to twitch. Its eyes half closed. Then, impossible as it seemed, the 3-ton apex predator slowly lowered itself to the ground and rolled partially onto its side. The training yard fell silent. "I'll be damned," whispered a Vortian cadet. Emily crouched beside the warbeast, scratching its belly armor where the scales were softer. The creature made a sound no one had ever heard from a warbeast before, a deep, rumbling purr that vibrated through the ground. Krovax approached cautiously. "Cadet Vasquez, how did you know to do that?" Emily looked up, surprised. "Do what, Sergeant?" "It's just an animal. A really big, scary animal, but still an animal." She smiled. "Humans have been bonding with predators since before we learned to make fire. We domesticated wolves into dogs, turned wild cats into house pets, and made friends with creatures that should have eaten us." The warbeast rolled over and placed its massive head in Emily's lap. "This guy?" Emily continued, stroking the beast's snout. "He's not testing for courage. He's testing for understanding. He wants to know if we see him as a weapon or as a partner." She looked into the creature's eyes. "Right, buddy?" The warbeast rumbled in what could only be described as agreement. Krovax updated his assessment file. Maybe Command knew exactly what they were doing when they sent humans to the warbeast program. Any species that could turn a predator into a companion wasn't just brave, they were something else entirely. Emily stood, and the warbeast stood with her, pressing against her side like she was the most important thing in its world. "I think he chose me," Sergeant, Emily said with a grin. Krovax nodded slowly. I think he did, Cadet. I think he did.